And here we have them. And we've heard it's Malte Imdahl and Eugen. Don't get irritated by the names. They're going to get fixed quite quickly, I would say. And we saw that Malte won the die roll, and he's on the Bestial Tearlaments deck.
I was Malte, I would make that my profile picture. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, yeah, it's not too bad to be mistaken with Dinkabui for sure. But yeah, he's playing a quite reasonably big package of the Ishizu cards.
Yeah.
But he only really maxed out on the shufflers, and he definitely cut down on the millers quite a bit. He's only running 1 Kelbag and a total of 0 Agitos, but he's already starting to discard one of the Keldos, which he's maxing out on, by activating the effect of Shiren, and he hit a Merly in the process. And I think
a crime, and that is actually not a good hit. And wow, immediate Druid's Wurm activated to banish the Merly from the GY.
Yep, it's not only about Earth monsters in Eugen's Madolche deck. He's bringing a couple of Dark monsters. The Bestial's really making his Tearlaments matchup even better. And look, Malte is shaking his head. I'm afraid there's not coming much more, but there is Pearl Rhino.
There is Pearl Rhino, and Pearl Rhino could eventually pop the Druid's Worm. However, Druid's Worm can then send a special summoned monster, which could be Shiren, not the one you necessarily want to send, to be honest.
Absolutely not, no. And Eugen is playing quite a few really strong going second cards, because he's not only bringing the Bestials, which are really good versus the matchup he's just facing, Ishizu Tearlaments, but he's also bringing in cards such as Herald of Orange Light, which in this deck is even better, because you played Herald of the Orange Light in Madolche before, because we're all fairies, and now you can even add some Ishizu cards, and you have so many cards you could discard with Orange Light. Basically, every monster works well together with the Orange Light, besides the Bestials, of course.
It's a deck full of dragons and fairies. This is really cool, actually.
Absolutely.
So, let me show you some of my favorite fairy artworks, because we are about to see them very soon.
Yeah, but let's focus on what Malte is doing. First of all, he's going to send Hafnis to the graveyard with the Rhino Heart, and he uses that Hafnis and the Shiren on board to go into Kid Colors, and Kid Colors is about to resolve its effect, apparently. Yeah, he gets to resolve it here. And Malte is calmly going through his deck. I think Malte can handle the pressure of this featured match. Eugen, we know, he's very, very much known to the featured match area. It's no big pressure for him. He even approached us saying, hey, I play Madolche, I should probably be featured at some point. Yeah, he was very direct about it. He was like, please bring me on. And we were happy to have him here. And then on the other end, Malte now resolving the effect of Kid Colors.
Actually, in our third match of our little cup that we are having, I'm doing a tribute gesture to one of Eugene Hyde's featured matches, and those who know will know.
Sure, and look,
and this time I read Ravine, by the way.
This is an interesting trend that I've seen beginning from this event by looking through a couple of deck lists of the players. A lot of the Ishizu Tearlaments players have started to pick back up the Ghost Bell. That card fall out of popularity quite a bit. Yeah, but a bunch of players are actually bringing Ghost Bell, and I do kind of understand why, because of course you could use it on Tearlament effects in the graveyard, that's nice, but you could also use it to prevent Bestials from banishing your own Tearlament cards, and I think that's even more handy in this matchup.
Ghost Bell has kind of, instead of being an interruptive hand trap, become a protective one. Because we have seen also in MathMech, one of my favorite decks, that you'd want to protect your trap card from DD Crow or Called by the Grave.
Absolutely.
And this is the case here again, I think.
Yeah, totally. So it is kind of a Called by the Grave, right? So it looks like Ghost Bell is a... and it could also negate Called by the Grave, by the way. So Ghost Bell really fits all...
Oh, we are detaching Elf instead of Merly.
We are detaching Elf indeed.
I think that Malte is going to go for... Okay,
yeah,
so he's
playing 1 Jet, 1 Smashes. That's the full package he's running for the Sprite cards. And of course, the Gigantic in the extra deck. And we don't even have to talk about him playing the Sprite Elf as well.
Is he playing double Elf, though?
Let me check. I have his list right here.
Should be, right?
And he is playing 1 Gigantic, of course, only. And he's only playing 1 Elf as well. And then 1 Sprite Sprint, of course. So there's 3 Sprite extra deck cards in his Tearlaments deck here. And now he gets to summon out this Jet. He actually searched for the Smashes already. And look, he's already using the Caldo now preemptively in his own turn to actually get the Crime back to into his own deck. What do you think the chances are that Malte knows what he's facing here? Do you think he's aware that Eugen may be playing Madolche? Because it's always tough when you're a big name, everybody knows you, and you're going into that kind of a tournament. People will start to realize when you are playing a very, very interesting deck.
Oh, he shuffled back the elf. Okay, now I get it.
He did
that makes a lot of sense. You can actually cut on spaces in the extra deck.
Yeah, I like that a lot, to be honest. I like that a lot. So maybe he knows that he's facing that matchup. And the end board is like, for an Ishizu tier deck, it's not that impressive. We see Elf, we see Rule Colors, and I really want to see some Earth Fairies now on the side of Eugen, to be honest.
Yeah, if you think that you don't need Abyss Dweller, then it's fine to just end on this board, set one card, and maybe hope for the best, actually. But he never got rid of the Druid's Womb.
That will be an instant threat now in Eugen's turn then.
Yeah.
Because as soon as he links it away or does something with it, he will be able to do something with it. And look, he's starting it off with the Vernisylph engine. Malte has to read it. And all the Vernisylphs basically do the same. They discard themselves and they have to discard one more Vernisylph card or any monster. And then they will resolve their second effect. And he starts it all off with one of the Vernisylphs. He's only playing one of Vernisylph of the Awakening Forest, as you can see on the screen.
And he has the one of which mostly means, as when the cards are not limited, that you don't want to necessarily draw it, but you would rather want to have your 3-offs, which are...
Yep.
I call them duckies and, and the fairy.
Yeah. And I mean, I forgot one crucial part about it. They all do the same in discarding itself and another one, but they also all reborn one afterwards. So he gets 2 monsters in the graveyard now, but he discarded one of the Angelis. And as we said, there's so much synergy in this deck. The Ishizu pods work with the Vernisylphs. The Madolche cards work together with the Vernisylphs. And as you can see that right now, he discarded Angeli, and he will be able to special summon Angeli right back after that.
And Angeli is a power card.
It absolutely is.
But first of all, the Vernisylph of the Awakening Forest has to resolve. I think it's the one from the deck. Yes. And I mean, okay, so Caldo is being activated already, targeting the Angeli. It makes sense because
yeah, but you know what
he can mill one now.
Yes, true. And you know what's kind of annoying? Eugen, by resolving his Vernisylphs now, is actually locking himself into only resolving Earth effects. So that Druid's Womb he has on board is actually not going to be able to use its Scent effect this turn if it gets away from the board this turn.
That is indeed true. So now we are sitting here, and now the Awakening Forest mills, right? Should be. It should mill.
Let me double check. So of course special summoning from the graveyard.
And it can just special summon itself. And he gets the Caldo into the GY, so he immediately has an interrupt. This is really strong.
Oh look, he doesn't even special summon out the Angeli. He wants to special summon
Angeli
out
was shuffled back.
The Awakening Forest. Oh yeah, makes sense of course. Oh,
and we're going for a Link 2. Which one could that be? Dark.
It will be Dark. That is one of the most popular Link monsters in every extra deck. Even if you do not play Dark monsters yourself, you will sometimes have a way into getting Dark monsters from your opponent, and then Dark is definitely
And he cannot send the Roll Colors.
Oh yeah, that's what I was thinking. Also, maybe he doesn't realize, and then Dark is not that good anymore because he can also not use the effect of Dark on the field. So he gets rid of the 2 monsters on board. He cannot trigger the Druid Swarm. He cannot use the effect of Dark on board. So maybe Eugen here actually forgot about the restriction that Vernisylph cards bring with them.
And now Malte is reading the Roll Colors as well. Roll Color is going to be able to negate the effect of a card that special summons a monster. But we also have the Elf effect open to special summon Merly.
Yeah, it looks like Malte's kind of small setup is still going to provide him quite a bit here. And let's not forget about Sprite Smasher still being set there in his back row.
That's true, but we also do not want to forget about the Caldo in the GY of Eugen.
That is indeed true, yeah. And now we go with Madolche Zalong being activated on the side of Eugen. And Malte once again picking it up. And that just gives you another additional normal summon for Madolche monsters. He hasn't even used his regular normal summon yet, but he still wants to have another one. And of course, if another Madolche card you control on your graveyard is added to your hand or shuffled into your deck, you can set one Madolche spell trap card directly from your deck. So, as we know, that's happening quite a bit, and actually quite funnily, that would have triggered on the Madolche Angelique shuffle back, I'm quite sure. So maybe he should have started things off with that, and then he could have already got the trap set.
Would have been neat.
Yeah, for sure. So, he's considering his options. And is that the hand of Eugen? It looks really big. a lot of cards.
It's the GY, actually, of Malte.
Oh, yeah, true. Yeah, there is no GY on Malte's side, so definitely is the GY of Malte. Both of them are running a couple of Ishizu cards. On Eugen's side, it's not that many, though. When we look through his list, he's playing double Caldo and only one Mudora, and that's already it. Not playing any of the mill cards. And we see he's milling one... Oh, no, okay. I thought that's his graveyard again, but no, it is Malte's graveyard. And I think we're resolving Caldo, trying to shuffle back the Mudora here. And also 2 level 2s, which could potentially get reborn by the Elf.
And this might be a chain to the activation of Elf.
That could also very well be the case for real, yeah. But now we are chaining our Mudora. But to be fair, there's not that much stuff you would actually want to shuffle back here. You probably are actually going to reset some resources on your side.
But you really do not want to reset your Druid's Worm,
That's
right?
what I was thinking. I mean, okay, it is live right now because there's a Druid's Worm in his opponent's graveyard.
But I mean, still the card's not that strong.
Absolutely not, no. He's considering his options. Eugen sitting there waiting for him. He's certainly going to put back the Burner Sylph. Oh, and now he's also chaining the Smashers right now.
I mean, he basically wants to get rid of the Salon. But now this looks like all of the...
Oh, also banishing the Smashers. Elf.
Elf, yeah. Which one should be banished, no?
But it's so tough for Eugen that he actually has that dog that is useless right there on the board. He cannot use the effect of dog, and that's so crucial here in this situation. I don't know whether he will be able to actually go into something with it, because his link package in his deck is quite small, and he's much rather focusing on Exceed monsters, as Madolches usually do.
I think he probably just wanted to get rid of the Roll Claws anyways. But I mean, this one sticked.
Yep. That Druid's Worm effect wasn't able to resolve.
Will Malte think of it? He can now use Pelourinho to pop the Dark. Dark will not get the effect, because Merli was shuffled back into the deck.
Yep, doesn't look like it though. Doesn't look like we're resolving that. Nope.
Okay, fine, cool.
But we gotta say, it's much easier to follow that here in the commentary booth than live.
Oh no, he's actually going for it.
Look at it. He has not forgotten. He doesn't forget. Malte is so far playing this smoothly.
I wouldn't even have been mad at him, because it's easy to forget cards if you don't know the effects of half your opponent's deck.
And that's it for Eugen. Wow. He is passing on an empty board and is back on Malte again.
So Malte has to show something now, because otherwise he will still just be able to attack with Roll Calls and then pass. I mean, he has not generated any follow-up, and he's going for the Druid's Worm.
Do you think he top-decked into the Druid's Worm? He just shuffled back for himself? That would be
hilarious.
Quite hilarious, for sure. So that's quite a bit of damage already.
Oh,
and look, he has Magna now as well.
This one actually goes through. Because, and now he can go for a Beatrice or the Wallow. I think he's only playing Wallow, right?
Let me double check his list.
One of my favorite cards from
Malte Imdal is on rank 6, rank 6, rank 6. I can't even find any of them. Oh, he's on Beatrice. I found Beatrice, and while we think about
Eugen is playing Wallow.
Eugen has actually scooped it up. 1-0 for Malte Imdal here in our round 5 featured match. So maybe the champion again gets his loss here in the featured match area, because we had that early on as well, where the big player actually managed to get defeated quite quickly with Typhoon Bayraktar.
Just Chris LeBlanc chilling here, winning all the games. But our champions seem to play some kind of roguish decks at the moment. I mean, maybe this wasn't the key to victory, and Chris LeBlanc just went for Ishizu, which seems to be a good deck for this tournament.
Looks like it. Also, we can mention that Chris LeBlanc's list and the list of Malte Imdal actually have some similarities, because not a whole lot...
They both play Tearlaments cards.
Wow. Great point. Thank you very much for bringing that up.
No problem. I'm always here for you, pal.
But also, they both play a small sprite engine. The engine of Malte Imdahl is even smaller than the one from Chris LeBlanc because he's only on Smashers and Jet.
Yeah.
But still, not a whole lot of players have actually decided to do that. So it's quite interesting to see that both of them are actually quite successful with their lists so far.
I mean, this engine got it was played before, but it got so much better with Caldo and Modora, because if you mill your Smashes, you can actually just shuffle it back into the deck, and this is really good.
Yeah, we saw that. He just, in his first turn, used one of his shufflers to actually get the Crime in that case back to his deck. It's just the resource game in general. It's a great interruption to stop your opponent from playing. It's not that relevant though versus Madolche, so you can actually much rather use it as resource fodder for your own deck, which is fantastic. Absolutely great, great. Let's look into the side decks a little bit though. Malte Imdahl will be facing a going second scenario here most likely, and he's prepared for that, let me say that, because we see there's Dark Ruler on the Morse. And Dark Ruler actually wasn't that popular anymore lately because it wasn't that much about big negate boards. And we have the Ishizu cards being in the graveyard. It's much more about that, and Dark Ruler doesn't do anything versus that. So it was kind of rough with those.
I mean, we haven't even seen what board the Madolche deck can put up. Maybe it is a big board that can negate a lot of stuff. We've also seen the card in LeBlanc's sideboard, I think.
Oh, did we?
Yeah.
Maybe
I was surprised about that. I mean, it's always shifting around, like kind of triangle-ish. One event, people are putting up big boards because Dark Ruler no more has fallen out of favor, and then in the next event, everyone is playing Dark Ruler again. So the good players play around that, or the
you always got to stay
players
ahead of the curve, right? You got to be so quickly in adjusting.
But you can't be 2 steps ahead of the curve.
That would be outplaying yourself then, Because last week we just had YCS Pasadena, and this event, of course, has a lot of influence from that event because people were just seeing what happened there and was 1 week ago. So it's a little bit of recently biased, of course. They saw what was good there, so they assumed it's going to be good here. And very, very smart players, as we just have in our feature match area right now, of course, try to already make assumptions based on the assumptions others are making. And let's see what kind of assumptions we have here in Game 2. Players are ready, so let's get back over to the table. And as you were saying, we did not see a board from Eugen yet, but it is on him now to actually produce a board because he will be going first here. Let's hope there's something coming out of this. Let's hope we're actually going to see maybe Glass Soufflé or Pudding Sass being on the end board for Eugen Hyde.
Petting Saussure is one of the best starters that the deck has. It's basically just a special summon and then an add. I think he's also running triple copies of this. Yes.
No, he's only running... Oh no, it's one Pudding Sass, but triple Petting Saussure. You're absolutely right about
this
that.
This deck is a literal treat.
Yep, a lot of treats. How many treats does Eugen get here, though? He has to really consider his options. It can't be that easy. And again, he starts off with the one-off.
And this time he starts versus a Tearlament deck with a Modora in the GY. Modora also one-off in his list, by the way.
Yep, he starts with 2 one-offs. Venusil of the Awakening Forest and the Modora. And wow, we have the Gamma being chained by Malte Imdahl. And for a second I thought that driver is coming from his hand, but he's shuffling his deck, so I assume it came from the deck. And that could be an early stoppage here for Eugen. We gotta see whether he can recover from that.
Maybe he had the driver
Gamma
in hand and special summoned the Gamma.
I don't think so, my friend. But look, he has another Vernusylph. We can go on Vernusylph of the Misting Seedlings, discarding Angeli, and now this time he even has a really good card to Reborn now all of a sudden with the effect of Vernusylph of the Misting Seedlings.
And Misting Seedlings, exactly, also searches a card from the deck to the hand.
Yeah. And contrarian to Vernusylph of the Flourishing Hills, the Misting Seedlings, very new from Darkling Glass, by the way, can actually search you any Earth Fairy. So you could search out a Caldo if you like. You could search out any of the Madolche level 4 monsters, and you could do so many different things. And there is a Hoodcake hitting the board already.
I'm gonna get this one up for you guys.
Madolche Hoodcake. And Malte maybe a little bit of, I will just throw the Gamma on the first thing I see and then pray it's enough, but Eugen looks like he's very happily still going for a big play here.
I mean, it was a +1, right?
In the end, it was, yeah. You always take those +1 trades. I will agree with you. It seems like a pretty good activation indeed for the Gamma. But maybe Eugen also wanted that. He was like, hey, I'm going to give you an option. You can go +1 right here. You'd rather do it. And then I have my stuff that I really want to resolve afterwards. Because, honestly, he didn't discard the Angeli at first. So I kind of think that was the case. So we resolved the Hood Cake. We have now special summoned out the Madolche Exceed Monster, the Madolche Teacher Glass Souffle, and we're instantly putting another Exceed Monster on top of it. We have the Madolche Pudding Says Chocolat à la mode. There she is. 2,500 attack points. Pure power.
That is true, and it has Pudding Says as material.
It does. And we are using the effect. Oh no, I think he's just explaining, yes, we have Pudding Says as material. So that was just confirmed to his opponent.
Oh, and Jelly is being shuffled back into the deck. Petting Scissor is, or Pudding Says, and Jelly.
What do you try to tell me,
he can just special summon monsters now.
He can
special summon Messenger Gelato and search for the Chateau. This is where we're going for.
That's how it is. Messenger Gelato bringing the bad news for Malte Imdalia in that case. And Malte sits there with only 4 cards in hand now. Maybe not even sure what's happening there because he hasn't seen those Madolche cards for a while. But Eugen brought them here to the tournament.
I mean, Malte is kind of young, so he might have never seen them before. I mean, that is bold to assume, but now...
I mean, to be fair, Eugen Heid won the European Championship a long time ago, so a lot of us actually haven't even been playing back then.
Yeah.
Both of us have been, but
been a
lot of our viewers,
Eugen.
of course, haven't. But now you see him here, still going strong in 2022.
Chocolat à la mode is again going to special summon a monster from the deck to the field.
Yeah, but it's great because those Madolche cards actually got reprinted quite a lot over time because we had multiple OTS pack reprints, and also Ghost from the Past actually got us a lot of cool Madolche reprints.
Ooh, and that's Butler Rusk, I think.
Yep, and that's a card Eugen actually sides in. He has decided to side deck one Madolche Butler Rusk, which is coming onto the field right here, right now.
And this one adds a field spell card to the hand when it gets summoned, so I think that he can just add a Necro Valley or something.
Yes, that's what he's also siding. He's siding Necro Valley and Butler Rusk. So that's his side decking plan for the Tearlaments matchup, I would assume. And luckily, he sits across one Tearlaments player right here, right now.
What a coincidence.
Yes, what a coincidence. Who could have foreseen that? Oh, and he's not done yet. Another Vernusylph effect.
Oh, it's the ferry this time.
This time it's Flourishing Hills. Yeah, they're all fairies. But Flourishing Hills, and this is searching for one Vernusylph. And then, of course, again, special summoning back from the graveyard, as they all do.
You guys see what I mean with the ferry.
Yeah, absolutely. And we search for another Misting Seedlings right here. And we're specialing back the Angeli.
I think Angeli has been used this time already, this turn.
I'm pretty sure as well. But it is fodder for a rank 4 Exceed Summon if you want to. That could be an easy Dweller now as well. That's really good. Dweller, Baguska is all the options, but Baguska usually more of an option versus Sprite and Floander restacks, and Abyss Dweller being the obvious choice versus the Tearlaments deck. But has he searched for Necro Valley? I didn't see him pick up Necro Valley yet. Maybe Hard Druid, maybe he doesn't even play it, because there is a field spell now on the field, but it is the theme internal Madolche Chateau being up there.
He's going for another Glass Souffle.
Yep. Making itself unaffected, and now shuffling back. But I mean, so far, it's only the Madolche monsters on the board, which is not... Okay, okay, now we're searching again. Butler Rusk now probably going to search out the Necro Valley we were thinking about, and here we have it. Necro Valley, such a strong weapon versus the Tearlaments
And Malte is laughing.
He's nodding.
He was wondering, what is this going to end in? And now he knows, of course, it's got to be the Necro Valley card that absolutely shuts down the entire deck. However, he has probably sighted in Lightning Storm, and I don't think there's a way for Eugen to prevent him from Lightning Storming away this Necro Valley.
Yeah, but did you see in his hand? He has to first of all draw it.
I trust in Malte, he can absolutely do this. So we are looking at Sistart again.
Yep, he's double checking. And I think Malte wouldn't waste any time here when he wouldn't have an answer to the Necro Valley. If he has no answer, he's probably just going to go into game 3. So I am also, as you are, quite optimistic for him that he has an answer to it.
Does he play any other answers to it?
Let me check. You talked about the Lightning Storms coming in from the side deck. But besides that, I mean, maybe with Perler Rhino, I mean, no, Perler Rhino can't even really trigger when there's Necro Valley on the board. So it's really only those, I mean, Sprite Smashes is another one. You could get to Sprite Smashes at some point. That actually does work. But wait, can you even activate it? You would have to banish from hand, right?
Oh, I thought he was going to add Mystic Mine with the Terraform.
Oh, that would have been quite decent here, honestly.
I think that Sprite Smashers can banish from hand as cost.
Yeah, it can. But on the other hand, you only run Jet and Smashers, so it would be quite hard to pull that off. Yeah, for sure. That would be quite a hard task. So Perler Rhino is up there now. Both of them having a field spell. And Perler Rhino probably being the most popular field spell in the whole tournament. But right now it seems unequally matched right there, because that Necro Valley is really doing a whole lot more for for Eugen than his Perler Rhino is doing for Malte.
That is true. And now, did he already search something? Because I couldn't really see what. No.
I think... Yeah, okay. He's confirming we searched the Rhino Heart.
Good card.
It is indeed.
Not solving his problems right here, gotta be honest.
He still keeps on going. He's still... So, Lightning Storm now out of the question. There's not going to be a Lightning Storm anymore.
Oh, yeah, he wants to go for a Zeus line.
Oh, that's... Honestly, yeah, we didn't even consider that, but that's a pretty easy way to actually clear the whole board.
Yeah, you just go for Baguska and then attack. And then you have the Zeus line. Perfect. It's
Seems
as
like
easy as 1, 2, 3.
Really good plan. And that's probably what Malte is thinking here. That line is really obvious, but Eugen has to be aware of that. That can't be the first time he gets faced with a Zeus, so there has to be a backup plan in some way. And yep, Malte does exactly what you were talking about. He goes for the rank 4. He goes for Dweller. I mean, at the end of the day...
absolutely useless versus Madolche. I don't think that any card really does something against Dweller except for Caldo. Oh, it would be actually really strong here, to be honest, to activate it first of all, and then basically shut down the Modora or Caldo and the opponent's GY.
You know what I would have liked?
Before going to Zeus?
Maybe just go for the Rhino Heart and then go Battle Phase, because there's an Exceed monster in defense position on the side of Eugen, so you could have actually gotten a scenario where you have an Exceed monster battling without even summoning one yourself. So maybe that would have been the way. But he went for his own Dweller.
Worse than... because now he can actually deal damage, right? No. Okay, I thought he could go walk over Battle Rust.
And now there's Zeus, and is there an answer? Because, of course, Eugen is chaining the Glass Souffle effect. So he can make one of his Madolche monsters unaffected. But that doesn't make the Necro Valley unaffected, so...
And this is really the card that Malte wants to get rid of.
Yeah, I think this is working out for Malte.
Also, he cannot use the effect to shuffle something because Necro Valley is on the field.
Yep, indeed. This looks like it could very, very, very well work out for Malte. And I mean, we were already going like, does he have another option than Lightning Storm? Not really. And then by seeing him summon another level 4 monster, we were like, Zeus could be a really good line. And now we are actually in the process of resolving Zeus, and Necro Valley is leaving the board, making play for Malte a lot more comfortable. But what does he have in his hand to now follow this Zeus up?
And now it is the last sweet standing for Eugen. Chocolate a la mod against the world. There is Zeus. Caldo is being activated, probably going to deal with the Mudora instantly. And also shuffling back some resources.
We're targeting the Mudora.
We're not going to shuffle back the Necro Valley, 100%, I'm convinced.
I'm pretty convinced too. And we're most likely going to see Eugen also going to chain his Madolche here. But there's no real good target. I mean, he himself can actually get the Necro Valley back into rotation, but let's just... he would also have to go after the Butler Rusk, so he would have the option available again. So I could really see that here, going after Butler Rusk and Necro Valley to have that option again for the next turn to put Malte once more under the Necro Valley. Oh, but he's looking... Okay, that was his hand.
What other cards is Eugen playing in the deck that can protect you from a Zeus, actually? Or Lightning Storm?
Yeah, I would have thought that against Zeus, it's actually going to be the Orange Light. I would have thought maybe there's an Orange Light in his hand to just protect all of that. But besides that, not really.
Is he running Knights? Orange Light, yeah. Promenade.
But he's not running Knights, no. No.
Promenade bounces.
And look,
right?
exactly what I thought. He goes after Butler Rusk and Necro Valley, wants to have that option back in his deck. So he could pull off the same combo again that he did in turn 1 to put his opponent once more under the restrictions of Necro Valley. One of the most powerful field spell cards there are.
And now he used the Chocolate a la Mode to special summon out the Petting Sister to get some follow-up for the next turn. I mean, it bought him a turn, right? Necro Valley just made Malte use his battle phase. He took 300 damage, and for next turn he can now get some more resources and set up.
Yeah, absolutely. So maybe that's just how Eugen wins those games. He gets one turn, it's fine, and then afterwards he just goes for the OTK in the turn after. Because that is what Madolche was originally. This deck sometimes was even a going second deck because you could actually end games in one turn so easily. So I think Eugen, contrarian to, for example, Exorcisters that we saw earlier, would be very much able to end games quickly. So I could see that here. Oh, but there's instant fusion on the side of Malte.
Malte having the instant fusion, going to summon out a Kid Colossus for free, looking into the camera and smiling.
That is really one of the cards that makes him get the gas going again here. I think, was it only 2 cards left in hand, and one of them being instant fusion after already normal summoning? That is really one of the best cards you could have there.
And he has not used a single name. He also knows that his opponent is not on Tearlament cards, so he can basically freely go for a Kalbeck or a Guido effects if he wants to. I think he's only running 1 Kalbeck, and that one is already in the GY, so scratch that. But I mean, milling 8 is going to do a lot.
Indeed, indeed. So, Malte considering it. What are we going to see here? How big is his combo going to look like?
Kid Colossus targeting itself. Merle in attack position. An angry Merle.
The classic mill 8 coming up here. Free for the Merle. That's already Rhinoheart and Merle. There's another Rhinoheart.
Scream is really, really good. And Hafnes as the last card, the second name in this mill 8. He is going to activate Merle, Hafnes, and Scream. There is no interruption in the GY of Eugen, and he's just now free to pop off.
And look how happy Malte looks. He really, he came up with that. He figured out that the Zeus line is most certainly the way to go here, and he actually profits heavily off of it.
Yeah. Maybe he also has a Chiron in hand, so he can re-summon the Rhinoheart, so he can build an even bigger chain link. But for now, we are going to see that he's going to search Starleak with Scream, because most likely he is going to, or he had sided out the Crime.
Yeah, that's what you usually do.
He also has
second.
2 cards in hand, by the way. Oh, he searched for Crime.
Okay.
Never mind, I stand corrected.
So, let's see how that chain...
I mean, he probably had to side out all the Bestials. There was like... There were probably no more cards that he wanted to side out.
Yeah, I mean, he's playing a big Bestial package, and in general, that is a trend here in this tournament. People are really focusing on the Bestials. Those cards from Darkwing Blast, almost everybody runs them in the main deck, absolutely. And he's playing triple Druid's Womb, double Magnamoot, and 1 Saronir. So one more of the team Druid's Womb over Magnamoot. Because you don't want to give your opponent the chance to reborn your Magnamoots, and therefore he's on triple Druid's Womb and only double Magnamoot.
I mean, it just makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. So we are still resolving the chain here. And it looks like there's an Hafnes being... Oh yeah, we're triggering the Hafnes. We milled as our 8th card there. And we're going to shuffle back.
Colossus, probably.
Yeah, there's no more... Oh, he goes for Dragostapelia.
Okay. I mean, this makes sense, you know? There are already monsters on board that you want to basically negate, and Dragostapelia can actually have multiple monsters negated at the same time. I mean, you can only use the effect to put a Predator counter once per turn, but the counters stick to the monsters. So if you negate the Hoot Cake now, it won't be able to resolve next turn.
Yeah, that's really cool. He can actually go after 2 monsters instead of 1. So definitely a heads-up play there by him. And he's still not done. After that mill 8, he had a bunch of stuff to do, and he now looks through his extra deck. He could actually just link away... Oh, we're going for kit colors again here. Interesting.
Very interesting. I wonder what that is all about. Maybe he wants to desperately go into another Wool Colors, but... okay.
This looks like we're going for...
Going to Sprint? No, Dark.
Yeah. Oh, no, it's Elf. It's Elf. Yeah, of course it is Elf.
Oh, he milled Jet.
Oh, you're so right. He did mill Sprite Jet, so his little package is actually alive, so he can special out the Sprite Jet with Elf to get the Smashers from his deck. So he now has Dragostapelia on board, which is an interruption. He has Smashers on board, which is another interruption. And he has Sprite Elf, which will be able to special summon back the Merly from his graveyard as well. So going second through a Necro Valley, Malte Imdahl actually put up a fantastic board here.
And now we are going, of course, for the gigantic Sprite.
Oh, he's checking. Is there gigantic in there already? But of course it's not. We would have noticed, right? We would have noticed if we would have been locked into only rank and link 2s.
And he, of course, now detaches Elf again. I criticized it earlier, but it just makes sense because you want to shuffle it back.
Yes, indeed it does. So, Malte, again, he still has that Caldo in his graveyard. And look, instantly putting the Sprite Elf back to the extra deck. He also wants to recycle the Zeus, just in case Eugen gets a chance to set up Necro Valley again. He wants to have that option once more. And he's going after 1 card from Eugen's graveyard as well, maybe?
At this point, I'm kind of confused about the Elf shuffle back if he goes into Elf again right here, because what does it do now? Like, why did he go into the route? Like, did that accomplish anything? I mean,
you mean the Gigantic, right? Yeah, Gigantic didn't really do too much here.
No, he just has he
probably... Was it the second one? That's a question.
Yeah, it was the second one.
Okay. I mean, then I really don't get it either, but... Yeah. He is, first of all, negating the Hood Cake, I think, with the Dragostapelia, as you were talking about earlier. Also, he searched Crime in between, so it's not just the board I was talking about, it's Crime on top of all of that. So this is really a fantastic end board. But I think...
Keep in mind, it looks like he has no cards
in hand, what I was about to say, indeed. So Crime, not live just yet, but we know there are a couple of ways to get cards into your hand in the Tearlaments deck, even on your opponent's turn.
Yeah. So there are a lot of ways for everything in the opponent's turn in Tearlaments.
Indeed, indeed. So Eugen draws for turn, not looking too comfortable anymore. He looked happier when he had Necro Valley on board, not gonna lie. But is there a way he can figure this out?
Gigantic Sprite patiently waiting the graveyard of Malte, waiting to be shuffled back and being summoned again. You can actually recycle the Smashers engine every single turn if you want. It is absolute. Not every single turn. You have to banish something for cost, but
it almost feels like it's free. Yeah. But Eugen, what is his way to deal with that now? I mean, he could always just instantly go into something such as Baguska, I think, because that could potentially buy him time. On the other hand, there's Sprite Smasher set, so that wouldn't be a very long time he gets there.
That's true. Okay, so Elf is being activated. I think Eugen threatened to go to the battle phase already. Yep. That's why he put his monsters in attack position as well. And now Merly is going to be activated. Merly is hitting 3 cards that we cannot determine. I think the first one might have been Rhinoheart.
Yes, yeah. Rhinoheart and both shufflers. And I honestly love that.
There is a card in hand, though, for Malte.
Oh, you're right, there is. I honestly love that from Eugen. I think that's what maybe everybody should do. When there's a Sprite Elf on your opponent's side of the field and you have monsters on board, just announce battle phase and he will most likely respond with Sprite Elf. So you already get one of the interruptions from your opponent out And then you can still stay in main phase 1 because your opponent did something when you announced that you want to enter battle phase. And therefore you can just keep on playing now, as he does. He normal summons Bien Jelly. Very well done by Eugen.
And he cannot use the Prio, so because it doesn't exist anymore, so he can actually use Dragostapelia to negate it.
Yep, and Malte is thinking about it. Maybe he's going for it. I mean, it's so strong what Malte has set up there going second through that board, right? There's still Crime, there's still Smashers, there's the Dragostapelia. This is just really, really strong stuff. And it is a really good showcase of how good the Ishizu Tearlaments deck is.
So we are going for the rank 4. Is this going to be the Babushka? No, it's Queen Tearlaments, and this is the OG boss monster of Madolche.
Absolutely. The Queen herself is being summoned, and this is pretty cool because it can actually shuffle back 2 cards on the field. But you need to, the thing is, you need to shuffle back Madolche cards from your graveyard for that, right? So maybe there would be a way for Malte to deny that. Let me double check on the effect.
Necro Valley.
What do you mean?
You could activate Necro Valley and then you can't use Tearlaments.
Okay, yeah, sure, fair enough. Yeah, but the thing is, he has to shuffle back 2 monsters, so you could just respond with one of the shufflers. You could respond with Keldor or something, and I think Tearlaments is not going to resolve afterwards. So that would be a pretty easy way to deal with it, but Malte thought otherwise, and he just used the effect of Dragostapelia on the Tearlaments.
Fair enough.
Absolutely.
Use it while you can.
And now, maybe Eugen also wants to go for Zeus at some point. The thing with Zeus is, though, that is one that is 100% getting crimed, right?
Yeah.
There's a small chance still that Malte does not have a Tearlaments card or a monster card in general in his hand.
I mean, he can just attack over the Kid Colossus and the Merle, right?
Oh yeah, you're right. And then there's no Tearlament monster on the board anymore. But first of all, we go for the second Chocolat à la Motte.
The Madolche pudding says.
There she is. Right next to each other, they're sitting there now. One is no materials left, but the other one does have 2.
Did he use any effects that lock him out of monsters like Zeus or lock him into Madolche cards?
I don't believe so, honestly.
Because this sounds like a convenient way to win this game, to just basically, okay, adding back Chateau now. Or targeting Chateau, maybe shuffling back Chateau.
That could definitely be the case. But one thing that Eugen has to keep in mind is that the clock also is not really in his favor anymore. 3 minutes and 28 seconds left, so it's going to be quite tight here in game 2, time-wise. And yes, we are running over the Kid Colossus.
In Eugen's favor?
It's not really going in Eugen's favor, no.
But he's ahead in life points.
Yes, for now he is, but there's one more to get. Like, he is still not winning the match. So if he really wants to win the match, which has to be the ultimate end goal, there's not much time for that left, to be honest.
But for this game, he looks fine for the moment. So he's attacking with Hootcake over Elf, and there is Smashes, which is a card that is actually really good versus Zeus, by the way.
It is, it is.
So Jet is being banished, and we are probably going to get rid of the Elf first. Yeah, that makes sense. Chocolat à la Motte is gone now, and we know that we have Crime here, we have Merle on the field, we have Stapelia still.
That looked like a pass to me. All right, they are talking, but Eugen made some hand gestures which looked like a pass, but no! He has another banner
called by the grave.
Wow! There is the called by the grave. Who's there?
It's the grave. I got a call earlier, if you guys have seen the introduction video. It was actually the grave. So this one now probably just ends the turn of Eugene, and he didn't even need his Crime. Like, he activated all the other cards that he had in his back row, except for the one that he showed Eugen earlier.
Yeah, but but there's Gaia Chatter, so he's still going into Zeus as you were anticipating. But does he have a monster in hand to just negate it with the Crime? That's a question here. Where's Hoodcake now, though?
Yeah, Hoodcake is still negated. He can banish a card from the GY as cost still. But
it's not going to resolve. Nope. Oh, but he's chaining Zeus.
Ooh.
And there's the crime bow. And it was a Madolche in hand. So this is now actually probably sealing the deal for Malte. Play is going over for him, but the clock is something to be really concerned about right now. He normals the Merle, he draws from the top.
Does he hit anything? I don't think he needs to hit anything. There's Chiron. You can now just freely go for a Garura or a Rule Colors. At this point, you probably just go for Rule Colors. This is
there was no Rhino Heart.
That is
where was Rhino Heart? We're missing Rhino Heart, my friend.
Wrong card. Wrong card. And we know that he meant to go for Rule Colors. It is. He just grabbed the wrong one. I think that we should still correct that. This is still not a legal summon at this point, but when you're going so close to time, then...
Yeah, I think they're double check. Yeah, look.
Oh, that was a Rhino Heart. No.
No, it was a Chiron. It was a Chiron.
You can't even go for Rule Colors. There was no kit colors used, right? Oh, yes, there was kit colors used. Yes, now
we figured that out.
Right the first time.
Great. Now we go into battle phase. So Malte is securing advantage in life points right here, right now. So he feels a lot safer and brings himself a lot closer to a 2-0 victory here over our former European champion, Eugen Height.
And this board is still impressive. Eugen has no cards in hand, I think no cards on the field, and there is still Roll Colors and Dragostapile. You can now consider going into Elf or Gigantic Sprite if you want to shuffle it back first with the Modora that you just discarded for Crime. But you don't really need that even.
Honestly, you don't need to. The board you have right there is good enough. And there is the call for time.
It is the fist bump. And Eugen loses to Malte Imdahl in the round 5 featured match.
We have a winner. Malte Imdahl still undefeated, going strong. Now even defeating the European champion, the former European champion. So definitely a showcase of class there from Malte Imdahl. Very well played as well, because just breaking that board with Necro Valley was really good stuff. Let's be honest.
We thought that this was like taking out his deck entirely, but he just went for 2-level force. Can I Dweller attack Zeus? Okay.
And it seemed so easy, and in his head it processed so quickly. He didn't even think about it for long. He was going, yeah, that's easy. That's my obvious out.
Maybe he was questioning it a little bit. Like, can it be this easy? Can I just do this? And then
it worked, yeah. Sometimes it is that easy.
Fine.
Sometimes it is that easy. Sometimes you beat 5-0 in a German YCS Dortmund. So Malte Imdahl,
the biggest YCS ever.
Malte Imdahl may be a good shot at becoming our champion of YCS Dortmund, because honestly, he's 5-0 in the tournament. So that's a very good start, first of all. But also, he really showed that he's capable of piloting this deck, which is very skill intensive. So you'd rather be skillful with his deck, otherwise it will not reward you at all.
Yeah, he was really good at using the Zeus against the Necro Valley. Eugen, I don't know if this Gamma in Game 2 really stopped him from putting up a bigger board, because it seems like the deck is not that strong if your win condition is Necro Valley and you can't even protect it. Like, Zeus is not hard to achieve in Tearlaments Ishizu.
He would have had way more card advantage, I think, because he only ended on 2 cards in hand.
And then you can probably OTK more easily.
That on top of it, for sure. But he probably would have gotten to Herald of Orange Light or something, would have had more resources and not only the 2 cards when that Gamma would have not been. And Herald of Orange Light would have been quite a neat little answer to the Zeus, let's be honest. That would have made it a lot easier. But no, Malte just took it with a swift 2-0. And I have a quick question for you now at the end of this.
Shoot it.
The Sprite engine, even though it was a really small one here for Malte Imdahl, what do you think? Is that one that you would play yourself in that Tearlaments Ishizu deck?
Yes, I love it. I would actually go for a blue as well. Not only for the reason that you get one more body on board. I mean, it's a tough decision because you can draw it, and it's not really the best draw always, because you don't always start with the Merle. However,
go ahead.
You can banish the blue in the process and then recycle the entire rest of the engine, so you can actually smash us twice. And if you are in a really long grind game, this might actually let you come out on top.
It will. And interestingly enough, that was the approach that Christopher LeBlanc took. We saw his list, we saw him on feature in round 1. He was actually running the 3 Sprite cards instead of only the 2 that Malte Imdahl has decided. Of course, he did even more cool stuff with the Master Change 2 and so on.
And I mean, you also have the Gigantic Sprite as well that you can banish.
Absolutely. And then, as we have a little bit more time, what would be an absolute dream deck of you to come into the featured match for the rest of the event? We have been wandering through the rows. We have seen a couple of decks. Do you have something in mind you would love to see, maybe?
You know the answer already.
Go ahead.
There is a German player piloting a Scareclaw deck, and he is really good at his combos. Between the rounds, he came to us and was like, I have this crazy combo, and you do this and this and this. And it was way too hard to follow because he spoke way too quickly. However, he's performing really well. I don't know if he's still XO to this round.
He was X1 before the round, so kind of unfortunate.
But we might see him later.
Yes, for sure. Also, one more guy that was doing really well. Do you remember Tobias Stegemann from YCS Utrecht? He brought his Crystal Beasts again, so maybe we're going to see him later. I saw him doing very well early on, so maybe he can continue his success. He almost topped in Utrecht. Maybe it's time for him now. But first of all, let's hear from our winner from this round, Malte Imdahl and Ed, please, for the interview.
Thank you very much, Basti. Yes, I am joined by Malte Imdahl, the winner of round 5. You're now 5-0. At the biggest YCS ever, and you just beat the 2014 European champ and the 2018 Austrian champ, someone who's topped a lot of things. How does that feel?
It feels the same, especially because I never topped the event. I just bubbled a couple of it, and it's just like I was like so under pressure when I was in the feature match because I know it's like a really good player and really known player as well. And yeah, I tried to make like no misplays, but I think I did some of these. Because Madolche is not the most common deck, but yeah.
I was going to say, how did it feel to go up against Madolche? Because this weekend, everyone's expecting the Ishizu tier matchups, like mirror match for yourself. Were you expecting Madolche? Were you a bit nervous when you first saw the cards come out?
Honestly, I heard about it yesterday already, that some players are on a Madolche deck because it has a insanely good Tearlaments matchup. And I was like, yeah, I'm not really prepared for it, but like there's like maybe 1, 2, maybe 3 people in the room that really can pilot the deck that good that it's like really dangerous for this deck. And I think Eugen was one of them, but I got lucky with my in-game 2. I draw just nuts, and it's like that's the reason why I won the game. Honestly.
Well, let's talk about your game. So in game 1, Eugen had a lot of misplays because there was a moment where he forgot that he was locked into Earth effects, so he couldn't activate anything in Grave. You popped the Dark with the Field spell. You basically managed to take that game 1 because he just forgot a lot of things and it went downhill. So did you think at that point that you were taking control of the whole round?
I knew that I extra asked how the cards work because I really don't know the cards. And he said that it's locked into Earth effects, and I was like, I mean, yeah, the Dark isn't really a threat anymore because normally the Dark is a threat because you can bait out stuff, but in this case it isn't a threat anymore. But I still shuffled back my Magnute because I forgot this at this moment, but overall I was like playing like really like safe at this point because I know I can pop the Dark now because he cannot search, and yeah.
It was a very quick game 1, and then game 2 was a pretty long fight all the way to time. So let's go through some of that. There was the Necro Valley that he sided in, which was that's pretty good against your deck. But you got into Dweller and then went into Zeus and cleared that Necro Valley. So already at that point, you started to take control. Were you feeling confident around then?
Yeah, I already outed like 2 Necro Rallies this weekend. And like, it's like Zeus is like the most common out because like in your extra deck, but obviously you have other outs as well. But yeah, Necro Rally is just or Zeus is just always have access to it, so it's like really easy to get it.
And then you also had the big instant fusion moment, straight into a combo. You milled exactly what you needed. And then you had a field of Dragostapelia, Kickalos. Like, you had a really, really good field going on at that point.
Yeah, I was like really confident that Dragostapelia is the card that I need to win the game. Especially because it reduced the level. That's like really important in this matchup because it's like a rank 4 base deck or Exceed base deck in general. And if you can just manipulate the levels, they cannot go for Exceed summons anymore, and it makes the match up a lot better, a lot easier to play, I think.
And then the final couple of things that happened, you were basically trying to prevent any more Necro Valleys from coming out. You hit him with the Call by the Grave. He went into Zeus, but you used the Crime to negate the Zeus effect. And then just in those final few seconds, you secured that life point difference to get the win. So at that point, was that a big sigh of relief? Because I saw time get called. We saw the T get slapped down. How did you feel?
I mean, I thought that the judges say something at 10 minutes. It's like hard to describe, but if you're in a feature match, like in a tunnel, you really don't feel like the outside anymore. It's like you really concentrate on the match, and I tried to play it as fast as possible, because I thought the judges said at 10 minutes, because I told like in 10 minutes we're gonna say it. But I mean, I asked middle in the game, it's like 40 minutes. I was like, I think they considered it's fine to not call it again. But it would be better for me, because then I could play a lot differently. And now I had to play like a lot quicker. I wasn't relaxed anymore in the last 2 minutes, because it was like, yeah, it's so close to time in there.
Well, you managed to nail it, and you secured that life point difference just in those final seconds, and you got yourself a victory against quite a hot competitor there. So there you go, 5-0, doing pretty well so far. I wish you the best of luck in all of the upcoming rounds. Perhaps we'll be seeing you in the top cut. But there you guys go, Malte winning that 5th round. Don't go anywhere, because we've got round 6 coming up in just a little bit.